everybody. Welcome back to Let's Talk About It Thursdays with your host, Philynxia. Happy Thursday. We're back at the park with it. It's very gorgeous outside today, so um, we're here with the bees. The bees are bumbling and they're pollinating. So yeah, and the wind is winding clearly, because hello. Anywho, um, yeah. So let's get into it. Um, I low key was not going to film this week because I didn't feel like I had anything to talk about. And that was until last night when I got into a little tussle with the Lord. So, I don't know, kind of been in like a little funk, and basically, I was just feeling very stagnant, very numb. I wasn't really leaving the house too much unless it involved me going to church or potentially getting something to eat. And then, or I would come to the park and read a little bit, but that was about it. I've just been in the house. I think I was starting to get a little cabin fever, basically. But I've started doing this thing to like where at night, if I feel like I'm getting really overwhelmed, I'll just go to bed. I'll put my phone down right where I'm at, and I'll leave it in a different part of my house, and I'll go to bed. So last night that happened, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna leave my phone on this couch. Went into the bathroom, started putting my scarf on, and the Lord spoke to me and was like, why are you avoiding me? And I instantly snapped back. I was like, I'm not avoiding you. It was like, yes, you are. I was like, okay, well, I was like, maybe I am avoiding you, but still. And he was like, why? It's like, because each time I didn't feel like I was avoiding him because I was still reading my word, I was still praying to him, but each time I was scrolling on TikTok and somebody would come across my screen talking about the Lord or reading the scripture or what have you, I would scroll right past it because I wanted to laugh. I told you I was feeling numb, and I I was avoiding him essentially. There's like no way around it. So basically, he was like, "Well, why?" I said, "Well, Lord, I'm a little frustrated." You know what I'm saying? Um, I was like, I'm dealing with this thing, and I just don't think that it's fair that I'm having to deal with this thing or that I'm having to go through this situation. Like, it's just not, it's not what I would like to be experiencing right now. And he was like, okay, go on. And I was like, I think my distress is that it's just like, I'm like, when is it going to get better? Mind you, he's already made his promise to me. He low key already gave me a timeline. So me asking this question was a bit redundant, but you be hard headed sometimes. As a child, you be hard headed. And so I'm like, when is it gonna get better? I'm like, is it even going to get better? And then I had to face myself, right? I was like, he was really just letting me talk. I was just letting I was letting my stuff off. You know what I'm saying? I was like, to be honest, I said I need to make a choice. I said I need to decide whether I'm going to be content with it potentially not getting better at all, and I'm just content with what I have, or I go back to living the way I was. And I started crying. I was like, I actually don't want to go back. I said, nothing about that old life is appealing to me at all, really. Um, so I guess I have made my choice. I guess I am content with whatever happens. And I'm just grateful with what I have. I'm grateful with where I'm at. And I'm like, okay. So that brought me to the verse. It's Hebrews chapter 13, verse 5. This is the NIV version, which says, Keep your lives free from the love of money and be content with what you have, because God has said, never will I leave you, never will I forsake you. And I was like, I low key already made my choice. You know, I actually am content with what I have, because if I wasn't, I would be in a far worse mental state than I am in now. Like I'm at peace. But I'm like, here's the thing, Lord. So you already promised me that it was going to get better. You already told me what was going to go down. You kind of already gave me a timeline, not the exact plan, but you know. So I have my hope, I have my faith, I have hope that it's going to change. But I was feeling a little bit like Jacob in that moment. Like I was wrestling with him a little bit. So after that chat, after he let me, you know, get my stuff off and say what I need to say, I felt a little bit lighter, but I still wasn't like completely at ease. So he was like, "Why don't you just go ahead and worship a little bit?" So I put on some worship music, um, and I played the first two songs that I played was "Alabaster Box" by CC Winans. If you're not familiar, get familiar immediately. I grew up with that song. My stepmom used to have that song on repeat. She had the Alabaster Box album, the CD, and she would play it in the car every time. She would either be picking me and my sister up from like our mom's house, or like we were leaving like Bible study or like dance practices. If we were in the car, we was in that Nissan blue, that Altima, or as a Maxima. I don't know what it's called. Nissan Maxima, Nissan Altima. Don't quote me. Either way, we was in the car and Alabaster Box was bumping. Okay, but as an adult, as a woman of God now, and really playing back that song and hearing what was going on, because why would you fly over me when I'm filming? Anyway, um, it hits different. But that was the first song I played, and that song is always gonna get me there. Like it's always gonna take me there. The second song I played was "What a God" by SCU Worship, and I was like, yeah. I'm like, if the highest place I reach is at your feet, then I really have done it all. Like all that I have needed, the Lord has provided. So what are we tripping about right now? What are we really? When I tell y'all people be beeping for no reason out here, that was the light just turned red, and you're not even in the front of the line. You're in the back of the line. You're fifth in line. Take a breather, okay? But anyway, um, yeah, there hasn't been a moment where the Lord hasn't provided for me. And I was talking to my friend earlier, and she asked me, she was like, "Does it not feel weird that does it not sometimes feel weird that you're putting all of your trust in God?" And I said, "No, because when I wasn't putting all of my trust in God, he still came through every time. So imagine putting all of my trust in him. Imagine what that's like. It hits different." And I was like, "Wow, like are there people out there who feel weird about that?" I guess I never felt weird about it at all, about trusting in him, because there wasn't any trust. I had a lack of trust, if you will. I wasn't, I would be stressed out and worried, like, oh my gosh, how am I going to pay this? What am I going to do about the situation? And each time he would show up and show out, and I wasn't even talking to him. Like, I wasn't even paying him no mind. So imagine now where I'm giving him my all. I've surrendered everything to him. I've laid everything at his feet. And I'm just letting him cook. I'm just saying, y'all. Think about it. It hits different. Um, but when I say I feel like Jacob, uh, so to give a little backstory, I'm doing this Bible plan on the Bible app. Um, I'm probably going to butcher the name a little bit, but I will put the link down below if anybody's interested in doing the plan. It's a 7-day Bible plan, and it talks about finding secure attachment while walking with God type situation. I mean, basically just touches on how the attachment style that we've grown up with and that we've had as children, how that affects our relationship with God. And like one of the first days, one of the devotionals was talking about how as a child, when you would be in distress or, in pain or you need in need of comfort, were you the child that ran to your parent? They made you feel better and then you were good and you moved on? Or, like how did that go for you? So when I was in prayer last night and I was worshiping, I was like, "Thank you, Dad." Talking about God here. I mean, shout out to my earthly father as well. But thank you, Dad, for being a safe space for me being able to run it to you while I'm in distress, you comforting me, and then I'm good. I can go on about my day. Because I did not grow up that way. Um, I, yeah, that was not my reality as a child. So being able to ease into that as a child of God and as an adult, shout out to you, God. So one of the passages that they brought up was Jacob wrestling with God in Genesis and how he was feeling a dissonance. And I know I said earlier that I was feeling numb, but really I was feeling a dissonance. I was not in harmony with the Lord these past couple of days because I was frustrated with him. So let me just read it to you really quick. This is Genesis chapter 32, verses 22 to 30. Okay, so it says, and this is also the NIV version. It says, that night Jacob got up and took his 2 wives, his 2 female servants, his 11 sons, and crossed the ford of the Jabbok. After he had sent them across the stream, he sent over all his possessions. So Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until daybreak. When the man saw that he could not overpower him, he touched the socket of Jacob's hip so that his hip was wrenched as he wrestled with the man. Then the man said, "Let go of me, for it is daybreak." But Jacob replied, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." The man asked him, "What is your name?" "Jacob," he answered. Then the man said, "Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with humans, and you have overcome." Jacob said, "Please tell me your name." But he replied, "Why do you ask my name?" Then he blessed him there. So Jacob called the place Peniel, saying, "It is because I saw God face to face, and yet my life was spared." You know, after that was what I read after I had prayed, after I was in worship, and that was like the last thing I read before I went to bed last night. That was like true, because the fact of the matter is, I've already received my blessing. You know what I'm saying? I've already received it. Like I said, he gave me a timeline. He told me when certain things were going to happen. And I really need to take this time to just vibe, continue to be obedient, continue to do focus on the task at hand so that when that time comes when I'm supposed to move on to the next thing, that I'm ready to do so. And that I have faith and I 100% trust him that it's going to work out, because I don't know when the time comes for me to do the thing that I'm supposed to do. I don't know how that's going to look. It might look crazy. It might look very wonky, but it's not supposed to make sense to me. God already equipped me with everything that I will need for when that time comes, when I'm supposed to make that move. And that's really all it is. So I say all that to say, if you feel like you are in dissonance with the Lord, if you feel like there is no harmony right now between y'all's relationship, and you're feeling a little frustrated, take a step back. But take that distress, take those worries, those burdens, lay it out for Him. Let Him know how you're feeling. And yes, He already knows how you're feeling, but it's when you have that ability to talk it out, you kind of put things into perspective for yourself. So that's my word for the week. Um, and I'm grateful that I have this space to come and share the things that I'm dealing with you guys, and just be able to talk it out, because you never know who else is going through the same thing as you. You never know who's feeling the same way as you. But like, if you got to wrestle with God, wrestle, but know that there's a blessing in the end. So yeah, I love you guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend as we are about to enter into July, and that y'all are at peace. Again, if you have a prayer request, feel free to send it to the email down below, and I will be more than happy to pray for you on your behalf. And yeah, tell a friend, share, comment, like, subscribe, all of that jazz. And I hope to see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.